The question I've been asked is, what's the difference between to and for? What's the difference between on and at? And how do I use them? How do I make sense of this? How do I choose prepositions? This is a great question. And it's important in English because there are a lot of prepositions used a lot, and you really need to understand them. So I'm going to explain this in a very brief summary, maybe in a different way than you've heard before. Okay, so here we go. First of all, the very first thing we need to think about is, why do we need prepositions? Well, there's a couple things I want you to remember. One thing, prepositions have one job to do, and that is connect nouns. Oh, hold on. What about phrasal verbs, teacher? They're verbs plus prepositions. I know. We'll get to that. But their job in a sentence is to connect nouns. Why do we need that? Well, let me show you why. If I have an object, a noun, this is a bowl or a dish, I don't know what you want to call it, and I have another one, like moose. It's my Canadian moose, Canada moose. Okay, so I have two objects, I have two nouns, right? I have dish and moose. Let's do a little test. What happens if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "Excuse me, moose, dish, moose dish"? You're gonna look at them like, "Why are you bothering me? You're crazy, get away." Or you might even just run away. Moose dish has no meaning. We don't know the relationship between these two nouns. Enter prepositions, okay? Prepositions connect nouns to other words. They can connect nouns to nouns. They can connect nouns to verbs, but they connect nouns, especially in space. We live in a three-dimensional world, 4 if you include time. And we connect objects and nouns in the world with prepositions. For example, moose dish has no meaning to you. I get that. What if I said moose in dish? Moose in dish. Okay, I still sound crazy, but at least you understand the relationship between these two objects. The moose is in the dish. Even if I don't use the verb is, it still starts to make sense, right? Moose in dish. I don't know why, I don't know where, but I know the relationship between these two objects, right? Or let's try something different. We have a flat surface, okay? And a surface is usually a two-dimensional flat thing. In this case, a book surface. If I say book, moose, there's really no relationship clear, right? What if I say moose on book? Now the relationship is clear. The moose is on the book. I know where it is in space. I could also say moose under book. I could even say moose in book, right? It'd be strange, but I could. So prepositions connect nouns with other words, including nouns, but not limited to nouns. It can also be verbs and other things. Okay? That's their job. Here's another tip you have to remember. They relate to verbs. Now, functionally, they connect nouns in the sentence, okay? Moose in dish. But relate in meaning to the verb. And I'm going to show you some examples to clear this up. But the choice of preposition is often related to the verb of the sentence. Okay, so bear with me. Grammatically, they connect nouns to other words, but semantically, in terms of meaning, they are related to the verb. Remember, in a sentence, words are not alone. They're all related to each other. And that's what grammar or syntax is. It's the system of relationships. And that's how we create meanings. That's why it's important to learn this stuff. Okay? Sometimes prepositions are also metaphorical. What does that mean? Well, for example, the moose in the dish is not metaphorical, it's literal. It actually means what it says. But sometimes you're not actually in a container like a dish. Right now I'm in a room, that's literal. But if the show goes too long and dinner is late, I might be in trouble with my wife. She might say, hey, where's dinner, man? If it's my turn to make dinner. So I might be in trouble. Well, trouble is not even an object. It's an idea or a kind of relationship or a problem. It's a concept. It's abstract. And in order to understand abstract things we can't see, sometimes we compare them to something we can see, like a dish or a pot or a box. So trouble is like a container. And when you're in trouble, you can't get out, right? You're locked in, right? So trouble is like a box or like a prison and you can't get out. So you're in it. You're not on it, you're in it, okay? So sometimes prepositions are metaphorical. So these are three things you need to understand about how we use prepositions. Now I'm going to show you some examples. Teacher, what about on? On and in. Well, in, as we said earlier, is when something is in another thing. And that other thing is like a container. Okay? And it can be a physical container like a bowl or a dish. It can be a container like a room. It can even be a container that's visible, like the frame of this camera. I am in the frame, right? Now I'm outside the frame. So in is related to something in another thing that acts like a container. These words are in the book. The book contains them. The words aren't coming out. Okay? Sometimes that is metaphorical. That's physical when it's in the book or in the dish, but sometimes it's metaphorical, like I'm in trouble, right? Right now I'm in Canada. Canada is a big country with borders. Borders define the nation. Now, I can travel outside, but while I'm here, the borders contain me. I'm in the country. On is a little different in English. On relates to a flat surface. Excuse me. A flat surface, like a book cover. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, great book. The pen is now on this. This is also why we say, I'm going to look on the internet, not in. You don't climb into the internet. All you're doing is looking at a surface, which is your monitor screen. And that's a flat, two-dimensional surface, like a wall or a whiteboard. This whiteboard is a surface. I'm going to write on the whiteboard, right? Now here's where it gets fun and tricky. Teacher, what about an airplane? Why do we say on the airplane and not in the airplane? In the car, but on the bus. Let me explain it to you. Remember what I started with. I said prepositions connect nouns and they tell us the relationship between nouns, okay? Here's a surface, okay? It's a street, and here's me. I'm on the street. Paul is a noun, pronoun, so proper noun. Street is a noun. The relationship between us is that I am on the surface of the street. I'm on it. I'm not in it, I'm on it, okay? You can say in the street, but that's a different meaning. It's implying you're in the center of the street and there's more street around you. You're in the middle, which is dangerous, by the way. But this idea, this view, this vision, is that I'm on the street because the street's a surface, okay? What if I put wheels on the street? Like a giant skateboard. Well, the relationship between me and the skateboard is I'm on that surface. And by the way, on a skateboard, even a short one, you can walk this way and you can walk that way, just like a street. I've seen some skateboarders, really good ones, they can walk a little bit to the tip or a little bit to the back. They can move on the surface. Their relationship is like this. So we say, he's on the skateboard, right? Or it could be surfboard. If you're like the ocean, you go out on the surfboard, you're on the surfboard. And if you've seen, especially the longboard surfers, they can walk out to the tip and do some really cool moves, but they're on that surfboard, okay? So that's the relationship between the person and the surface. They're on the skateboard, they're on the surfboard, they're on the street. What happens if I put big wheels on it and then put walls up and turn this into a bus? It looks like I'm in the bus, right? I'm contained by the bus. However, it still follows the rule. I'm standing on the bus. Where I come from, you don't usually get a seat. You end up standing a lot. But I can move around on it. I can pay here and walk to the bus, walk to the back of the bus, walk to the exit. I can move around on it because my relationship is me on the surface. I don't have a relationship with the walls, usually. I don't touch bus walls. I certainly don't touch the bus ceiling. Why would I do that? My relationship is me on the surface. So if you phone me and say, hey, Paul, where are you? I'm going to say, hey, I'm on the bus, right? And the same thing applies when we take the wheels off and turn this into an airplane. Although that's a pretty stupid looking airplane, right? My relationship with the airplane is that I'm standing on the surface. Even if I sit down temporarily, I still have to stand up and walk to the washroom or walk to get off it, right? Go to the entrance and get off the airplane. So I don't have a relationship with the ceiling. I'm not touching the ceiling or the walls usually, unless it's really crowded. I don't have a relationship with the wings. So it doesn't really make any sense that I have a relationship of container, even though I know what you mean, we kind of do. But the primary relationship is me on the floor, okay? Because the plane's holding me up in the sky. So if I don't have a relationship with the floor, I'm in trouble, big trouble. I'm gonna float around. So we say, I'm in the airplane. I'm in the airplane. No? We say on the airplane because of the surface. An airplane is just a flying surface. It's basically a skateboard in the sky. So I'm on the skateboard, I'm on the surfboard, I'm on the bus, I'm on the airplane. I'm on, gosh, what else is there? Car. Let's talk about car. Teacher, I'm on the car. My relationship is with the floor of the car. Not quite. If I drive my car, I have to sit in the chair, right? I have to sit in the chair. I can't stand up and walk back and forth. And I really can't move, right? With a car, you're contained by the seat. The seat is preventing you from movement. So it's containing you like a box or a dish. In fact, if you look at the old-fashioned chairs, maybe 100-year-old chairs, they have these big arms. We call them armchairs still. And you can't move much in those chairs, right? It really does contain you. So because you're in a chair and you can't walk on the surface, in fact, if you're not very tall, maybe your feet aren't even touching the floor. So your relationship is not with the floor of the car, your relationship is with the chair. And chairs are containers. So we're going to say in the car, not on the car. And that's what's different between car and buses or trains. By the way, trains are the same as buses. We're on the train, on the bus, on the plane. That's what's different about it. With a car, you're contained. There's no walking, there's no moving. You're really contained. So that's the common difference between on and in, okay? Hopefully that clears up some of the questions people have had about prepositions.